Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Welcome to this episode of Am I the Asshole? Our first one is from Super Nico Robin. Am I the asshole for kicking my roommate out and tossing his stuff in the trash after finding out he messed with my food? I, 24 male, have shared an apartment with Andrew, 25 male, for a year. We found this place through some friends, and honestly, everything was pretty chill until this whole thing went down. My name is on the lease, and Andrew would just Venmo me his half of the rent. We never had any formal contract between us. We were having dinner with some friends and we were drinking, chillin' and having fun. One of our mutual friends made a joke about me being very tidy and Andrew being very chaotic, in terms of our rooms, cleaning habits, and stuff like that. Our friend asked us if that was a usual problem for us. So for some reason, Andrew decided to mention that whenever I'd get too annoying about cleaning the apartment or whatever, instead of fighting, he would go and spit on my food. Straight out spitting on my food. We were all laughing, but then Andrew went to the kitchen and demonstrated how easy it was just to take one of my prep meals for the week, open it, and spit on it. He did it right there in front of us. We were still laughing in a what the fuck is happening kind of way. After our friends left, Andrew tries to play it off, asking if I'm okay with what he admitted and apologizes for it. But I could sense he was dead serious. We ended up having a heated argument and I was furious. I told him he needed to find a place to stay, and he stormed off to his room, slamming the door behind him. The next morning, he heads off to the gym, and in the meantime, he sends me this long apology text. But when I didn't respond right away, he loses his cool again, saying he doesn't regret it, the spitting incident, and even cracks this disgusting joke about messing with my food, suggesting I avoid eating my ice cream because it's flavored now. Just the thought of it made my stomach turn, so I wasted no time. While he was out, I gathered up his belongings and tossed them in the trash. Some of my friends think I went too far by throwing away his stuff, but honestly, it felt like my only option. I couldn't bear the idea of having him around after that. Honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed to tell the full story to most of my friends and family, especially mutual friends. I just tell them we had a fight, so I've been called an asshole on more than one occasion. Plus, I'm not the best at getting jokes either. Am I the bad guy here? Considering you had somebody, your roommate, actually violating your fucking food and thinking it was a joke to do it in front of other people, I definitely don't think you're the asshole. Maybe throwing their stuff away was a bit too far. I would have just bagged it and left it outside, but that's just me. The fact is, don't fuck with people's food. I can't stress that enough. Definitely not an asshole. This next one is by Silly Sweet 2776. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter the reason she doesn't have a village is due to being overbearing? My daughter, 29, has one child named Sally. We have a large family with a lot of aunts and uncles. At the beginning, everyone was super happy to help out and be the village. The problem started when my daughter started having issues with every single thing they did when helping her out. At first, it was big things that should be respected, like respecting nap time. But over time, it started to get smaller and smaller. It got to the point where she was nitpicky just to nitpick. Whenever someone would babysit or help her out, she would be texting them constantly, or basically be hovering over their shoulder. Some examples: Aunt Jen's basement isn't safe. The kid doesn't go into her basement. Wash the dirty baby clothes in the wrong softener. Food wasn't correct. Always too hot or too cold. The list goes on and on. To make it worse, she has an attitude that she is the one doing us a favor by letting us near Sally, and not that we're helping her out since none of us need to help out. I've talked to her about this before. I understand she is a first-time parent, but it is very frustrating. It's all her way, and she won't accept anything else. It got to the point where they don't help her anymore. They were tired of her nitpicking everything they do, and we're done. She was complaining that no one was helping her, and basically they all suck. I told her the reason she doesn't have a village anymore is due to being overbearing. She called me a jerk and hasn't answered my texts. Seeing something like this really irritates me, and that's coming directly from a single parent that literally doesn't have a village to help them. When you have that opportunity and you shit it away, it's kind of like, why? Why do you even need to do that? If you don't trust the people to deal with your child, why are you even trusting your child with them? You're definitely not an asshole. Your daughter made the situation what it became. And our final one is from Own Excitement 14. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter-in-law and son that I didn't want you there, so I didn't invite you, and I will not be doing invites that I don't mean? I am very annoyed. I have 2 daughter-in-laws, and this is about Amy. Amy is very sensitive in my opinion. This isn't always a bad thing, but there have been multiple times where she has started crying over small things. She started crying when I informed her my childhood dog, over 40 years ago, was dead. For this reason, my son is extremely protective over her. The outdoors are also not comparable with her, to be honest. She is clumsy, which usually results in her falling and getting hurt. The worst case was when she fell and scraped her knee and started bawling. I truly thought someone was dying or extremely hurt. It was a scraped knee. Instead of it feeling like an adult relationship, it feels like I have to babysit her all the time. Not to mention, walking on eggshells or she might cry. My 2 daughters also have feelings this way, and when we bring it up with my son, he will not entertain the conversation. I don't know what's going on with her, but we have raised our complaints before and nothing changes. So I'm planning a camping trip and I invited my other daughter-in-law and my daughters. The reason above I didn't invite Amy. I also believe not everyone has to be invited to everything. She's still invited to all full family trips, holidays, get-togethers. She also never invited me out, which is fine. The trip is next weekend. They came over to pick up the kids and asked me to babysit next week. I turned it down since I'll be gone. They learned about the trip since I wasn't going to lie. Amy got quiet and asked why she wasn't invited. I told her this was just a trip with them. She got quiet and my son got pissed and told me I should have invited her. I reiterate, this wasn't a family trip. Nothing was working. After going in circles, I had enough. I told both of them I don't invite her because I didn't want her there. I will not be giving invites to someone I don't want at the event. You don't get invited everywhere, and they both need to be adults and understand. If they can't get that through their heads, then I will bring up every family vacation they took where I didn't get an invite. They both called me an asshole. Well, first and foremost, you're definitely not an asshole. I mean, at some point, somebody needs to look back on their behaviors, their actions, and wonder if it's maybe them that's the fucking problem. Too often, I see people just want to blame everybody else because they just feel like they're this perfect human being, when in reality, they're flawed just like everybody else, just in their own way. The fact that they're both calling you an asshole proves exactly what I said. Alright, that's enough stories for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Am I the Asshole? If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.